step-by-step guide for the foreign workers. In this video, I will tell you what are the concrete steps that one needs to take to become a temporary foreign worker in Canada. There are 5 major steps which I will discuss. Before those 5 steps are taken, there is one step which we may call realistic assessment of your own personal situation. This needs to be done before we do anything else. Later in other videos, additional information will be provided regarding some of other steps, for example, how to apply for a work permit. So let's start with what I call Step 0. Step 0. Moving to another country, even temporarily, is a big decision. For many people, this is a life-changing event. If you decide to come to Canada as a foreign worker, chances are this will change not only your life, but also the life of your immediate family and possibly lives of many generations which will come after you. For that reason, one should be well prepared for the process that lays ahead. To make sure you are ready for what is ahead of you, ask yourself these questions. Number 1. How is your health? Moving to another country, sometimes another continent, with a different climate, will put strain on your health. I mean both your physical health and your mental health. Make sure you are in good health before starting the adventure. Number 2. In Canada, you will have to communicate in English or French for work and outside of work. Do you speak English or French well enough to find and keep your job in Canada? If not, you may want to improve your language skills before you start looking for work. Majority of people in Canada speak English language. Number 3. Do you have at least 2 years of work experience in the occupation you want to use to come to Canada as a foreign worker? For example, if you want to work as a carpenter in Canada, and you have less than 2 years of work experience in that occupation, chances are you may not be able to get a job offer from a Canadian employer. Number 4. Have you been separated from your family for an extended period of time in the past? Have you previously lived on your own for longer periods of time, cooked for yourself, took care of your home on your own, etc.? Can you stand to be lonely in a foreign country? Number 5. Do you have enough money to cover all your expenses before you get your first paycheck in Canada? As we discussed earlier, that amount is not a small amount of money for many people. Number 6. Have you checked how easy or how hard it may be to find work in your occupation in Canada? Is your occupation regulated in Canada? Does your occupation require a high level of language proficiency? How hard it may be to obtain permanent resident status in Canada with your occupation? Number 7. How old are you? As mentioned earlier, Canadian employers are most likely to hire someone who is between 25 and 35 years of age, in most situations. If you are 19 or 50, job search in Canada may be very difficult. Number 8. And finally, here is probably the most basic question. Why do you want to come to Canada to work? Is it because you want to save money and return to your own country and continue your life there? Or your plan is to stay in Canada permanently? If your answer is you want to save some money and return, you may think twice before coming to Canada, because you may be better off in one of other developed countries, which are closer to your home country, rather than going all the way to Canada. If your answer is to stay in Canada permanently, then double-check how easy or difficult it will be to obtain permanent resident status using your particular occupation. Step 1. Okay, after all those initial questions are cleared and out of the way, let's start with the first step in your Canadian job search, NOC code. In one of the previous videos, we discussed what is NOC code, so I will not repeat it here again. You have to identify NOC code for your occupation before you start looking for work. This is important for many reasons. Your resume needs to reflect job duties as described in the Canadian NOC code description. Additionally, when you search for job vacancies online, you have to be familiar with the job titles for your occupation, and those are also listed under NOC description for each particular occupation. NOC description of your occupation will also tell you whether your occupation is regulated in Canada and what kind of education you need in order to work in that occupation. Finally, Canadian immigration officials use NOC code for immigration purposes. Therefore, you better become familiar with it too. NOC code, very important. Step 2. For job search in Canada, you must have a good resume. It was explained in another video what a resume is and how Canadian resume should look like. Take the time to prepare a good resume, because this is what Canadian employers see before they have a chance to speak with you. Your resume will convince them to interview you and hopefully offer you a job. After you find out what the NOC code for your occupation is, make sure you have a good resume in electronic form. PDF version of your resume is the best. Looking for work without a good resume is a waste of time. Step 3. Contact as many Canadian employers as possible. This means at least 200 employers per month. I know this sounds like a lot, but that is 10 resumes emailed to 10 different employers every day, which can be done if one is disciplined and well organized. If you send 20 to 30 resumes every 2 or 3 weeks, your job search may last a long, long time. On average, Canadians need 4 to 6 months to find work. They are in a much better position to find work than you. Therefore, you need to make an extra effort if you really need that job offer. Always keep in mind you are sending your resume to employers to secure a job interview. Do not expect they will hire you solely based on your resume. It won't happen that way. Some people come to Canada as visitors and then look for work that way. Looking for work in Canada that way is not illegal, but If you tell Canadian immigration officials that is the purpose of your visit to Canada, you may get into trouble because they won't believe you. You will only look for work. They may suspect you will also work illegally. Therefore, they may deny you entry into Canada. You better be careful with that. Step 4. So, you sent many resumes and finally a Canadian employer wants to speak with you. Job offer is within your reach. Many books are published in Canada and the US about job interviews. Job interviews in case of foreign workers are a bit specific because your Canadian employer won't be able to see you in person like they do with Canadian applicants. Your job interview will be conducted over the phone or using the Skype video calling application. Next video will cover this topic in much more detail. For now, this is what I would recommend. Prepare for the job interview. Practice with a family member or a friend. Keep in mind your employer wants to hire you because he or she needs you for their business, not because you need the employer for your plans. When you answer questions, try to speak between 20 seconds and 2 minutes. Very short answers are not good. Very long answers are not good either. Whatever the employer asks you, answer should include a message that you have hard skills for the job, soft skills, and that you are a reliable worker. Provide real-life examples for all of your statements, if possible. Step 5. Your job interview went well. Your employer received LMIA for you. It is time for you to apply for your work permit. When you apply for a work permit, it is more likely that your application will be approved than denied. However, you should prepare a good work permit application because no one can give you 100% guarantee that your work permit application will be approved. How can you apply for a work permit? There are 4 ways to do that. In one of the following videos, we will provide you with a detailed description regarding work permit applications. For now, let me say that your work permit application will include a visitor visa application in case you need a visitor visa. There is no need to apply for a visitor visa separately. Also, you will have to give your biometric information, fingerprints and picture, before your work permit is approved. Immigration officers may ask you to do a medical exam if they think that is required. For those foreign workers who do not require a visitor visa to enter Canada, there is a requirement to complete electronic travel authorization before boarding the plane to Canada. Please learn more about work permit applications in a separate video dedicated only to the topic of work permits.